In 2018, strange Craigslist ads began appearing online with cryptic text. Each listing had one thing in common: a simple hashtag. What started as a local oddity expanded into an online mystery with possible connections to artists and other mysteries. Today, we discuss the confusing and enigmatic hashtag PrayForDave. This is Red Web. Welcome back, Task Force, to another episode of Red Web, the podcast all about unsolved mysteries, internet mysteries, true crime, and a little bit of supernatural. I'm your resident mystery lover, Trevor Collins, and joining me hearing this case for the very first time, Alfredo Diaz.
Ooh, back to the bread and butter that is internet mysteries, huh?
Absolutely. We went online, scraped the web, and said, I need a taste of that mystery.
I feel like it's, I said this before, but it's the future of mysteries,
I think it's the new frontier.
For sure. You're just going to see a stockpile more and more of like internet mysteries. We're online so much. Everyone's glued to their phones.
Yep.
And so it's going to be something that just flourishes in the next decades.
Absolutely. And anyone can post anything too.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing as well. So I don't know, because one, the internet connects everyone, right? So you have all these internet investigators working hard together to uncover mysteries or work together to solve mysteries or try to. And that has shown. But also it's the anonymity of like the internet, right? You could just post and sure, there's a trace. Sure, like people like governments or people that own the sites or whatnot can see details about you. But for the most part, the general public cannot. So
absolutely. I think it's the anonymity, the maximum reach, the fact that you can post anything cryptic makes it approachable, but makes it prolific. And so you have this new form of mystery that shows up. We talk about ARGs all the time, and that tends to be the centered topic. But you also have some really confusing and enigmatic, like this one, with a lot of twists and turns, a lot of rabbit holes. So with this one in particular, I encourage you, as you're very good at, is stopping me down, asking questions. If you need clarity, this one gets a little wild, but I'm very excited to explore it. But before we do, as always, I want to give a huge shout out to our task force members over on patreon.com/redweb, the people that help this show stay independent and keep going forward. We have Delaney Murray, One Single Goat, and of course, our beautiful squonks, Andy Schrock, Mitch W., and Jarrett Osborne, to name a few. Again, patreon.com/redweb, the best way to support us. You get all sorts of exclusive stuff. You get this podcast ad-free. You get the exclusive podcast movie club. You know we love our movies, and a bunch of other bonus content. But with that said, let me wind back the clock to February 1st, 2018, when a Reddit user named Molasses Freak, we're going to hear a lot of interesting usernames today, shared an odd Craigslist advertisement. They found this and they went to the Reddit community for New Orleans, Louisiana, of course, called the subreddit New Orleans. If you haven't heard of it, Craigslist, by the way, is just a local community way to sell stuff. There is a local version of it for most major cities, and it's a way to post classified advertisements if you're selling something. It's like Facebook Marketplace, but a little bit more sketch.
yeah, completely agree.
So their Reddit post was titled, quote, "Code? Crazy Person? New Orleans CL Oddity." In this post, they provided a link to the ad, but unfortunately, as we like to do, we want to go look at these archived posts in the Wayback Machine. It's a website that archives snapshots of websites. Unfortunately, it was not archived on the website, so we don't know exactly what the Craigslist listing looked like, but luckily, they did include the text from the post, and it said this, quote, "Each teenage monarch possesses every crossroad," and then a series of 5 groups of 3 zeros. So 000, 000, etc. 5 times. And then it says hashtag PrayForDave, ending with a phone number with the area code 504. I'll leave the rest of the number anonymous. As always, if you want, you can go look. The number is out there, but I encourage you some discretion. If you're going to click on links or call phone numbers, it's your personal phone. So do it with caution. So Molasses Freak bravely called the phone number and was met with a robotic and incoherent voice that eventually repeated, quote, "Pray for Dave." 5 times before the sound of a voicemail beep. They later added that they found the same ad on the pets subsection, the for sale section of Craigslist. Basically, all the other genres of Craigslist started to see this very same ad. Now, within the same week of their original post, Molasses Freak left comments adding that the same post could be found in other sections of the site as well, all with different locations, interestingly enough. They were listed under antiques, under baby goods, under general for sale, things like that. Now, another Reddit user, S. Melendez, reported in the comments that they had also called the number themselves. These are some brave folks out here.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. I mean, maybe like on like a Google number or something that you create.
Right.
No, not on my actual phone number, no.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you say that. We're going to get to Google Voice like very soon, but in a previous mystery, we've talked about this stuff. I think Happy Valley Dream Survey comes to mind, where a number is the very center of the mystery. A lot of people text it and call it. Some people get different answers. Some people get texts. It makes for a very compelling or interesting angle, but it's also a little sketchy because I don't want people having my number and whatever comes with that.
Right.
Now, this S. Melendez called the number, and they said that it sounded like someone was reading the text from the Craigslist ad itself. They found out then by looking at the number a little closer, they found that it was from a Google Voice app. So then they even texted it to continue this conversation. They received a response the next day that simply said, quote, "Pray for Dave." Now, as you mentioned, Google Voice is a VoIP, or a voice over internet protocol. It allows you to do the phone stuff, but through the internet. It also allows you to have a little bit of anonymity between you and the person you're calling, but not fully. It is attached to your phone and your number, but it's a little bit better.
Yeah. I mean, better enough that I would contemplate using it.
I definitely used it when I bravely called the Happy Valley Dream Survey, and then I started getting some strange messages, and we have a whole episode where I chased that down, and then it kind of ended with what seemed like a scam, but it does stand out. Phone numbers kind of start to raise my ARG flag a little bit, because ARGs are built to be hands-on and a little bit interactive, but otherwise there's really not much going on here. Until another Reddit user named Pyronius reported about what they heard when they called the phone number, and here's what they got. Quote, "Vasily, you must step up your efforts if we are to reach our goal on time. Research indicates lack of water, electricity have no effect on morale, headquarters suggest targeting liquor supply. They are an apathetic people, Vasily, but believe in your training. You will break them." End quote. And so I look up Vasily. What is this? Is it like, "Yea, verily"? And it turns out it's a masculine Russian name that ultimately derives from Greek, from Basil or Basil, which means royal or kingly in some nature. So I guess this is the title that this entity or whoever's behind all this is giving outwardly to the world.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it just sounds like pure nonsense. And that's where I like from afar look inwards to see how people are taking the information and dissecting it.
100%. So far, so this is cracking open the confusion eggshell. This is only the tip of the confusion iceberg, I should say. But it starts talking about stepping up your efforts. So it's indicating that whoever's reached out so far hasn't done a lot to get into the mystery or open this up. And they talk about reaching a goal on time. All these things I want you to remember, because they're kind of left as hanging chads. There are elements here that don't wrap up nicely, and that plays into some of the theories we'll talk about later. So these phone calls and people reporting in the comments, all these things kind of continued on without much progress that we could find, until another Reddit user comes to play. Plumskins, with a bunch of Z's at the end. They posted a screenshot on the New Orleans subreddit of one of the listings on July 21st of 2020. In the comments, Plumskins links to a Twitter account using the PrayForDave hashtag. Now, this Twitter account was also posting similar content under the username RexTodd12. So now we kind of have a name in play to attach to some of these odd messages.
Okay.
And then user Alice Inc. found many of the strange phrases the account tweeted were actually from a scribd document, or scribed, SCRIBD. I don't know if you've ever been to this website. It's how I read some textbooks in college for free. People would scan like homework assignments.
Oh, not even. But that's kind of cool, though.
Yeah. But yeah, it was simply listing out some of the strange phrases, basically. So this mystery or whatever's going on here is slowly starting to unfold, but again, still deeply confusing, but it hasn't stopped it from attaching to the interest of a lot of internet sleuths. In comes another user yet again, the Drag Slay, also on Reddit, and they shared the topic on one of my favorite subreddits, the Reddit Bureau of Investigation, aka RBI, and they shared it there on July 23rd, 2020. They wrote that this phenomenon had continued in the New Orleans Craigslist, and at some point the post started to include school photos of a child, which definitely sends up alarm bells, but rest assured, the photo is actually of a young Keanu Reeves, even though people are assuming that this must be Dave.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It goes from alarming to Keanu Reeves to a young Keanu Reeves to some people not knowing, I guess, who Keanu Reeves is, and so they think it's Dave.
Yeah. So people are like, maybe this is the Dave that we're praying for, even though it's like, no, that's my boy Reeves.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Keanu.
So it's also interesting because the reason why I point this out is because it kind of connects maybe officially, I don't know, the Twitter account, because the Twitter account was also using this photo as the profile picture. Now, of course, anybody can make a Twitter account and use whatever photo they want for the profile picture. So this could still be a second party trying to mirror the mystery a little bit, but for right now, it does seem that this Rex Todd 12 is maybe an official character. Now, the users of RBI began to look into this PrayForDave mystery, and a YouTube channel popped up on July 24th, 2020, just a day after the RBI post. The channel was called Rex Todd, much like the Twitter account, and the channel description is very bizarre. I'm going to read it word for word, but I'm very curious to hear your reactions. Okay. Quote, "An atmosphere waffles underneath the stroke. Dave challenges a variant underneath whatever protocol. The body fiddles the galaxy. The complex matter functions as the well. Opposite a mechanic, military explodes Dave. Dave escapes above the age. Does an accusing mount past the bush chain? The fiddle points to its T in the unclear faith. Dave solves a flower around a horrid stagger. A raid enters inside Dave." And it kind of goes on and on. I'm tempted to read the whole thing, but I'm only halfway through.
Oh, what? Like what?
This is like Shakespeare on acid, or someone being intentionally obtuse, because it seems like they're using nouns for verbs and verbs for nouns. And I tried to make heads or tails of this. I tried to see if this was like a word jumble. Like, could I remove these words around Voldemort style to come up with a coherent phrase? But then I started looking at it, and I'll kind of talk about this more later. But my initial take was maybe they just, you know how like when you're writing an essay in high school or whatever, and you can right click, go to synonyms, and pick the thing that makes you sound smarter?
Yep.
I'm wondering if somebody just riddled this whole sentence with that to kind of obfuscate whatever it is that they're trying to say.
I would think so. I would question whether or not the person that wrote this knows what they're talking about.
I know.
I mean, they know what they're trying to say, but like really, I'd be curious to see if like any of these words actually convey what he's trying to say.
Yeah. It ends with a very interesting sentence. And again, this is all online. Go read the entire thing. It's very confusing, but Task Force, I'd be very curious about your theories. But it ends with, quote, "A comparable penny noses within the community chorus. #PrayForDave." And so I'll use that as an example, like a comparable penny noses within the community chorus. The community chorus could just be online chatter, people interacting with whatever this mystery is. A comparable penny is maybe just having, here's my 2 cents. Like, here's just my opinion on the matter. And then noses is just kind of maybe butting your way in. So it could be saying something like, everybody in the community has an opinion on this, but they're not, what, I don't know. It's maybe just like a really overly confusing, flowery way to say something innocuous like that.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I guess, I feel like that's just being mysterious for mysterious sake.
Right. It just spikes the intrigue, and it definitely pulled people in further. So they started looking into the videos, and each video and its thumbnail is a still image of a seemingly random child's school picture. In one case, it's an image of actor Ryan Reynolds, but as a child, and it popped up randomly in the middle of the video. I assume, but I'm not sure, Christian, maybe we can look this up, that most of the children school photos that were used were public figures, so it's less problematic than just posting someone's random child online.
That is a very good question. I'll see if I can find that out.
Okay, but while he looks into that, the videos themselves usually start with a cryptic phrase or a 3-digit number read in an AI voice. And that usually is also the title of the video. For example, one of them was called, quote, "The Last House Chases a Hotel."
Man, like, it's just like one of those things where it's just so obscure that I just detach myself from
100%.
You know what I mean? In terms of like, not like detach myself from the mystery itself, but where I go, yeah, I'm not even going to think about trying to dissect any of this. I'm just going to sit back and see what people pull from this.
Right.
I kind of feel like I'm walking into an art gallery and people are like, wow. I feel these emotions and I see the meaning behind the artist's work. And I just go, that is red on top of blue on top of green.
I feel you 100%. And I don't want to be too info dumpy, but honestly, that's the nature of this particular mystery. It's that it's confusing turn after confusing phrase after interesting nugget of confusing information. So I want you to take it all in and we'll jump into the dissection, kind of into the theories. But yeah, I feel that when we were researching this and I'm reading through the research outline from Jillian, I'm kind of like, I don't know what I think. I'm trying to look for reasons and meaning, but we'll get into a few things that I'm desperately eager to see the task force opinion on. We have a Discord channel now as part of our Patreon where a lot of task force members theorize openly. And so anybody from the task force that's in New Orleans or Nolans, I'd love to get your take on a few elements that are to come because they're either super cryptic or they're kind of localized to the New Orleans community. With that said, though, I want to jump back to some of these videos because this AI voice is coming in. It's saying the video title, "The Last House Chases the Hotel," for example. And then this is usually followed by Morse code, the same voice saying 5 sets of 3 zeros, and of course, "Pray for Dave." Many videos are under a minute, but some, compellingly, are over half an hour. And the description is always the same. It's again 000,000, that goes 5 times, hashtag "Pray for Dave," and then the phone number, 504, etc., etc. Some of the videos are actually recordings. These might be voicemails that the number received. And so, you leave a voicemail, they then take that, put it into their video. We don't know for sure though. And then Rex Todd, the Twitter account, was posting very similar content. And sometimes it would tag seemingly random accounts and other celebrities, primarily Kim Kardashian of all people. Maybe they are deeply familiar with the celebrity block list right now. I don't know.
Yeah.
They also tagged Houston radio DJ Rod Ryan. So it seems like celebrities are a big element, even though I don't know what they're after. Maybe they're trying to get the celebrities to engage in some way.
I would think so. Maybe they're trying to reach some type of viral marketing or something.
That's a good point. It does feel like right now a desperate grasp for attention that then they hope, a celebrity might use the hashtag because that feels very ARG to me. Like there's a goal in mind. We just don't know what it is yet.
I will say though, it's like there's like 2 sides I can see. Like one, it's like who would attach themselves to this, anyone with like a celebrity background. And then 2, also like if they do attach themselves instantly, that diffuses the mystery to me and go, some kind of viral marketing or something. You know what I mean? Snoop Dogg's gonna give up smoking weed or fake smoking, giving up weed.
Yeah, and then it's a smokeless grill and you're like, great, thank you.
Yeah.
So this will play into this mystery, I think, because sometimes knowing kind of deflates the entire intrigue of the mystery. But I'll tell you straight up, this one stays intriguing with no answers the whole way.
Oh.
So we'll get to that. But either way, the content of the tweets and the content of the YouTube channel are very, very similar. And at one point in time, there were over 300 videos uploaded to the Rex Todd account, some of which have since been deleted sometime before the year 2024. Many of the tweets were also deleted at some point. Now, despite the attention that Pray for Dave began to garner at the time, it's still unknown what the purpose of the Craigslist listings were or what the YouTube videos were trying to say. This episode of Red Web is sponsored by Shady Rays. Get ready for the season ahead with quality shades built to last. Put them on your beautiful faces, task force, because our friends over at Shady Rays have you covered with premium and polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company, and they're offering a world-class product that's rated 5 stars by over 350,000 people. Their shades have durable frames, crystal clear optics, and they make the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures. You know I've talked about Shady Rays many times before. You've heard the number of reviews go up and up and up. I love how they keep their trends flowing. I just got my newest pair from Shady Rays, and I really enjoy, I love those polarized lenses, and they're keeping up with the evolving styles, always having something new. Love that. Plus, if your shades ever go missing or you take an unexpected hit, maybe Bigfoot comes out, slogs you in the face with a branch, I don't know, you don't have to sweat it, okay? They have the most insane protection in all of eyewear. I've never heard of anything like this, but every pair is backed by lost or broken replacements. So if you lose it, day one, they got your back. Exclusively for you Task Force members, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal. So head to shadyrays.com, use code RED50, RED50, and you're going to get 50% off your purchase of 2 or more pairs. Get some shades for yourself and the partner or the friends in your life. You're all going to look really good. 50% off shadyrays.com. Promo code RED50, RED50. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. This episode of Red Web is sponsored by Shopify. Selling a little bit of rapoo or a lot of bit of cha-ching. No one's here to stop me from the sound effects, by the way, Task Force. Shopify is here to help you do your thing. No matter what it is you're selling online, they've got you. Shopify is a global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. So whether you're at the very beginning, launching your online shop, all the way to the very end, if you're like, I've got my first real-life store, all the way to the, did we just hit 1 million orders stage? Okay, Shopify. They've got you. They're there to help you grow. And whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits or some Task Force merchandise, Shopify helps you sell everywhere. From their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system, wherever and whatever you're selling, they've got you covered, baby. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout, 36% better on average compared to other leading platforms. And sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic. They've got their AI-powered All-Star. What I love about Shopify is that it's simple to get started, and it's also simple to make a beautiful website. They take all of the technical worry out of just running a good e-commerce store. I love that. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the United States, and they're the global force behind brands like Allbirds, Rothy's, Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Plus, Shopify's award-winning help is there to support your success every step of the way, because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/redweb, all lowercase. Again, shopify.com/redweb. Go there now and grow your business no matter what stage you are in. Shopify.com/redweb. Sound effects! That leads us into the future, into, in fact, 3 exact years later. On February 1st, 2023, YouTuber Internet Mystery Machine, aka IMM, uploaded a video presenting the PrayForDave phenomenon. They uncovered a seemingly unrelated internet oddity that also came from the New Orleans subreddit. So on October 26, 2021, Mind of Minutia wrote a text post titled Old Baker Moment in Nola. So Nola is just kind of a colloquial nickname for New Orleans, N-O-L-A. Nolans, Nola. I'm probably not saying it right, but I've only been there for 2 days, so it's going to happen. So in this text post, they said, quote, "Been living here my whole life, but never understood everyone's fascination with the Old Baker moment in the city. I understand people create a different direction or two in their minds, but it feels too calculated to be natural. Just like the monk runs under the city off West End. Or at least that's one spot to get to it. Just seems super unnatural. You can't navigate it with no understanding of the current culture in NOLA. People are always saying stuff about it, but no one wants to draw the correlation between the two, so I'll make it clear. You can't navigate the monk runs without understanding the Old Baker moment, and I'm stuck because I don't get it at all." End quote. If you're confused, You should be. I
Yeah,
don't know
was gonna say,
exactly what he's talking about.
brother, I don't get it at all either. So
Yeah. So it appears to be all nonsense, of course. The two things to point out, Old Baker moment are one thing, and then the monk runs are a completely other thing. Those are the two key threads here. Replies to this post noted that the user posted similar content in the occult subreddit. So the Old Baker moment actually started to become a meme online because of this. But not long after, though, the same user, Mind of Minutia, shared their book with the New Orleans subreddit. It's called Glabber, to further explain their ideas on, quote, how to navigate the monk runs. Again, still don't know what that is, though according to IMM, this book didn't really help much.
yeah, I would just take it literally and be like, okay, there's a bunch of monks running somewhere.
Yeah, or the monk runs are like, again, it really rattling my mind trying to come up with anything. And this is where I would love for New Orleans task force members to let us know if they know anything about monk runs or Old Baker moment, what that could possibly be. But for me, it's like, well, where would the monks tend to be walking back and forth? I know there's a lot of historical and religious cultures going on in New Orleans. It's a very historied city, but I don't know it well enough to know if monks were ever present or if there were underground pathways with which they tended to commune from work to churches or synagogues or wherever they worshipped.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what comes to mind, like passageways or things of that nature. To us, though, just kind of looking at this, the book feels like experimental literature or just the work of somebody with very odd ideas or very peculiar writing styles. However, the author, Fex Speederbeck, led IMM to an experimental musician collective called Soundass. One word.
What?
I love the band name.
What?
I feel like this is some sort of ska punk band with a little bit of grunge. Soundass.
What the hell? This mystery is such a rabbit hole.
Dude, I opened up a few of the links when talking with Jillian before, finishing up the outline. And instantly I told her, I was like, I fell down the rabbit hole. And she goes, welcome, because she spent
Yeah.
all weekend getting lost trying to pull this all together. Bless her heart. She did it with a migraine. Maybe this is why she had a migraine, honestly.
Could be the cause.
But okay, so I want to recognize how deep we are while still being very, very confused. You should feel lost because that's where we're at, honestly. So it starts off with a few ads on Craigslist. Then it opens up into some YouTube videos and Twitter pages that are very similar, just as cryptic, without any extra insight. And the more information we get, the deeper we go, but the more confused we are. So now we're like 3 layers deep, but only more confused for it. And now we have a band in play that is somehow attached, and we have an author of a weird book. Their name is Fex Speederman. So that's where we're at. And this is all helpfully collated by, once again, Internet Mystery Machine. So I really appreciate their journalistic support in kind of collecting a lot of this data.
I feel like this is it's not, but just like if I was following along, I'd be like, oh, at some point in time, someone's going to be like, and this is the theme for our new album. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I will say, by having a band come into play and kind of the stuff we're about to talk about, it helps ground it a little bit. It won't give you all the answers, but it helps it make a little bit more sense. You start to get a whiff of purpose behind it, which I think is important with a mystery. You need to know, okay, so what's the motive here? So IMM's research led to the founder of Soundass, who at one point performed with KFC Murder Chicks. This was an entirely different band that we talked about during the Erratas internet mystery.
Soundass and KFC Murder Chicks?
Yeah, dude.
All right, these are pretty gnarly.
It's been a long time, so let me give you a quick kind of rundown. So Erratas was another internet mystery we discussed a long time ago. The whole angle was this word kept showing up, but if you Google it, you might disappear. People were disappearing without a trace, and so they were urging people not to Google it, but it turned out that it was an ARG they used to promote their music, and the band behind it was KFC Murder Chicks. So now suddenly, despite the confusion, we at least have a tenuous grasp on the purpose behind the mystery here. A band maybe trying to promote themselves through an ARG.
I mean, that's what I would think. That's where I'm at with it.
Yeah. Just a different angle, where Erratas kind of had an answer, and because the answer happened, they ended, and it was kind of blunt and sudden, whereas this is still going to this day, but just as confusing as ever, and doesn't seem to have promoted the music in any decent way, which is why it's still kind of open-ended. But either way, the founder here of Soundass, who one point performed with KFC Murder Chicks, they also performed in the band We Are Not Musicians. Another beautiful name for a band.
Great. Honestly, a bunch of great names, though.
And I feel like, and Christian, I know you're already kind of searching one thing. I'm curious on the genre of music and play, just because these names are so eclectic.
I can at least speak to the first thing you're having me search for and say, I got nothing.
Okay, I didn't. That's totally fine.
I tried. From what we could see, it seemed to be primarily celebrity photos, but I can't say that definitively because I just can't find everything.
Right, and some things have been unfortunately deleted and not archived. But I did say, while you kind of gave us the not surprising answer, I did look up the KFC Murder Chicks. They are dance and electronic music. Not that they're all that genre, but just so you know. So coming back to We Are Not Musicians, they are a band who is also from New Orleans, and they have a song titled #PrayForDave. This was released on November 19th, 2021 on Bandcamp. And in fact, one of their band members is the author, Feck Speederman. So you might think, huzzah, mystery concluded. We now know the origin and all of that. But is it a chicken or the egg situation? That's yet to unfold.
Right, what came first?
Yeah. Or, and we'll talk about it in the theories more, or are they trying to coast on the winds of a different mystery, so they can maybe get some attention? Jump forward to 2024, this year. January 13th, 2024, another YouTube channel, Savit Productions, uploaded a video entitled An Apology to Rex Todd at the Current Time. The thumbnail is the same photo of Keanu Reeves, and the audio is an AI voice saying seemingly random letters, possibly a code. We've done the episode on the numbers stations. Maybe it's something like that. And then the description is a handful of hashtags. Pray for Dave, apology, company feedback, and then those same 3 tags kind of repeated in a different order. It's unclear if this is all related to the overall mystery or some sort of ARG hijacking, as the other videos on this channel mention other internet mysteries such as South 32, Erratas, Enrix. 2 of those we actually covered in the past. South 32, I believe, was that the one, Christian, it was basically a collection of websites that just kind of got lumped in together to be referred to as South 32, right?
It all started as being a promotional website for a movie called South 32, and then the rabbit hole just kind of devolved from there, and yeah, it was leading to other websites, and if I remember correctly, I think the South 32 website would continually update with different random things.
Yeah, I was getting that one confused with the other one that we thought might have been a family movie website where it had terabytes of information and a simple login that no one could crack.
Oh yeah, that was Mortis.
Mortis!
Yeah.
That's right. Anyway, all these strange websites, some ARGs, some have theories that are just, well, maybe a family's using that to store movies, and then some are just the Hitman website, Lake City Quiet Pills. There's some wild ones out there.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So on January 25th, 2024, a different YouTuber, Pandox, covered #PrayForDave, and the video seemed to reignite the whole concept of Pray for Dave and Rex Todd. The accounts began uploading and tweeting more often, maybe as a response to Pandox's video. So now, I don't know, we've been involved in mysteries before, we might be rekindling something yet again. But Reddit user Nathan3301 noticed the change and posted about it on Internet Mysteries, which is a subreddit, and they posted about it on February 27th, 2024. In February of 2024, the channel uploaded a new video called A Fame Appears, with the usual video format, and then the Morse code in that video actually translated to the coordinates and address for the fairgrounds in New Orleans.
Oh no, I'm not going. There's no way.
Yeah, well,
no,
I'm not going to the fair. As much as I want an elephant ear, not today, not in Nolans. But that's honestly it. That's where the trail kind of runs cold, because it's just this consistent year after year outpouring of confusing information, and we don't have much more with regards to the fairgrounds, what might be there, why they are tagged. But it is still in New Orleans. And then that leads us to a few questions. Who is Rex Todd? Does it have anything to do with the author that we've talked about or anybody else? Who is Dave, in fact, and why are we praying for him? It sounds like someone needs help, but nothing kind of sinister has showed up yet other than maybe the address. Maybe Dave is tied up in a closet there in the fairgrounds and everyone's refusing to go. And what are the locations and the Craigslist listings kind of lead to? All of these questions are forever still open.
Yeah, I mean, surprisingly, it's like, do you think it would lead to some kind of promotional thing, or I don't know, like, especially nowadays, I'm surprised there's so much patience, you know?
Oh, yeah. I would want answers like pretty much right away, but then...
Yeah, or, you know, people love attention, and, you know, with the progress of the internet and everything like that, attention spans have gotten shorter and shorter, so you think they'd want to, like, get that dopamine hit of, like, the big reveal sooner than later. They've waited so much longer than I thought they would.
That is a really great point, honestly. I mean, we've done this show now for over 4 years, and even in that short 4-year time frame, we've watched internet content evolve drastically. And the popular medium, you know, TikTok and Reels, are dopamine hitting short form content, very, very punchy. And so I'm really happy you brought that up, because that is definitely an element to balance into the equation now. Whereas even just a few years ago, talking about these potential ARGs or these interesting mysteries that kind of spanned years, that wasn't really top of mind. This episode of Red Web is sponsored by Privacy Hawk. Privacy Hawk is your all-in-one data management app designed to help you regain control of your personal information. It automatically manages who uses and shares your data, allowing you to opt out or delete your information from thousands of companies and data brokers. Privacy Hawk safeguards your privacy and prevents data misuse. In addition, they provide comprehensive ID theft protection. Privacy Hawk scans across thousands of databases to identify exposed data. Then it automatically sends opt-out requests to delete your data from the web. This reduces fraud risk and actively protects your ID from theft. And a Privacy Hawk Platinum plan offers benefits like dark web and data breach alerts, identity theft recovery insurance and restoration, and live phone support. You know me, and Red Web, I dig into all the nooks and crannies. We got mysterious emails and phone numbers and websites all over the place. And so sometimes your data gets scooped. I appreciate services like Privacy Hawk because I can't keep control of all that. So to have a service that can keep a mind on that, keep a wrap on that, and scoop it all back off the internet and make sure that I'm getting reports that I know about it, that's just so invaluable to me. Browsing the internet has become wild, to say the least. So I appreciate having some peace of mind with Privacy Hawk. You can download Privacy Hawk right now and get your free privacy scan and use code REDWEB20 for 20% off their Platinum plan. Again, that's the Privacy Hawk app, and use code REDWEB20 for 20% off their Platinum plan. This episode of Red Web is sponsored by BetterHelp. Comparison is the thief of joy, and it's easy to envy other people's lives, and it might look like they have it all together when you scroll through their Instagram page or social media, but in reality, we're all just humans, and they probably don't. I mean, we all go through difficult times, and social media can be a highlight reel, you know what I mean? Therapy can also help you focus on what you want instead of what others have, so you can start living your best life. Therapy is a complicated and daunting task to approach, so I really appreciate how approachable BetterHelp makes it. It's hard to talk about, it's hard to find the right person, and BetterHelp is there as a valuable tool to help empower you to be the best version of yourself and find those right therapists. If you're thinking about starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. All you have to do is fill out a brief questionnaire. You're going to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch at any time for no additional charge. It's amazing. You need to find the right person to be able to speak to your unique situations. So stop comparing and start focusing with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/redweb today to get 10% off your first month. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/redweb. But with that said, since the discovery of this mystery, of course, many have theorized that PrayForDave is an ARG. Of course, we've talked about ARGs left and right, but if you haven't heard of them before, they are an alternate reality game. A game that uses real-life elements, tools, and clues to kind of take a user on the path of a story. It's a unique story format that allows people to engage, or oftentimes they lead to promotional material like a marketing effort. We talked about the Halo 2 ARG, I Love Bees.
I Love Bees.
Now, the seemingly incoherent phrases in Morse code point to the possibility of a puzzle to solve. We love ourselves a good puzzle. I know the internet loves a good puzzle. However, if this was an ARG, to your point, Fredo, it's gone on for 6 years without making any major progress. And perhaps there is a bit that we're missing since it seems to be mostly focused on New Orleans, and at a certain point, locations were shared on Craigslist within New Orleans, but we just don't have access to that anymore. So maybe elements of it are dead, there are dead ends here and there, or maybe it's just sat there waiting for somebody to figure out the next clue. Ultimately though, most ARGs like this tend to be dropped or forgotten at a certain point, but the fact that the accounts are still uploading and posting today is what really keeps the mystery alive. It seems that there either must be purpose behind it, or maybe it's dead internet theory type stuff, where there is a bot polling random phrases and tweets, some zeros, some hashtags, and they themselves are keeping it alive, or maybe some copycats are trying to hijack what was once an ARG to keep their own music relevant. It's hard to say because it really doesn't go much further than the confusing phrases.
Yeah, see, I hate that. I hate when there's like, it's a mystery all in itself already, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Let alone everyone trying to jump in and convolute the whole situation.
Right.
You know?
Right.
People raising their hands, I did it. I did the murder. It's like, you were 3 states away. Why would, no.
Right.
Get off the line.
Stop muddying the water and just get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking for answers. But yeah, that's the idea of an ARG. And it doesn't make the other theories mutually exclusive, but that is, to me, one of the loudest concepts that comes to mind. Now, another smaller possibility that I wanted to touch on is that these are posts, potentially, theoretically, from someone experiencing some form of mental illness. Now, I hesitate to infer much more than that, as there isn't much to go off of here, and the last thing I want to do is inadvertently vilify mental illness or extrapolate on a reality that is already difficult to assess because the phrasing is confusing, though it has been part of the theory's dialogue. Oftentimes we've noticed that mental illness is leveraged as a theory for mysteries because it's just people throwing words at the wall to see what is the answer. And I'm usually reluctant to approach it as a reasonable theory, but there are elements here, especially the confusing phrasing, that could indicate something else here. But that's as far as I'm willing to really explore that angle, but I'd be remiss if I didn't point it out.
I mean, look, people with the range of mental illness is a wide one, and people with mental illness have access to the internet, you know?
Certainly.
So,
I mean, we covered a mystery not too long ago where somebody was slipping these very cryptic handwritten notes into food in the grocery store.
Oh, yeah.
And again, there could be nefarious purpose behind that, or again, it could be somebody unfortunately dealing with mental illness that we just don't fully know because all we have is the note. So sometimes that is part of the mystery. We don't know. But another theory is that this is a form of art project, especially given the later revelations that there was a band called Soundass and there was a song named #PrayForDave that it attaches some of the loose threads, but I also keep thinking ARG hijacking is a possibility.
I mean, yeah, people hack into different things in various ways. People at airports or coffee shops set up fake Wi-Fi networks that people log into, and then they steal all your data. Like,
That's spooky stuff. I don't like that.
Yeah, that's too much.
And they all look like Boingo hotspot. Come get your internet.
Mm-hmm.
So YouTuber Pandox, who we talked about earlier, they discussed the connections to Old Baker Moment and theorized that its creator, Feck Speederman, was behind PrayForDave. However, in response to this video, Speederbeck, aka Mind of Minutia, went to Reddit to clarify. They said, quote, "I have nothing to do with #PrayForDave or any related mysteries," end quote. They continued on to explain that while they worked with Soundass, that was where the connection ended. So, assuming Mind of Minutia is telling the truth, because why wouldn't they? If it was Mind of Minutia and they got found out and then they just said, "No, it's not me," then this is a pointless, confusing as heck mystery with no angle, with no end.
1000%.
But assuming they are telling the truth, these two phenomena are unrelated, and perhaps these are just two internet oddities. The PrayForDave and the Old Baker Moment thing, maybe one inspiring the other. Now, the song by the same name may have just been inspired by the mystery hashtag PrayForDave. The group, being very aware of internet culture and memes, might have said, hey, maybe this is an interesting thing to reference. References happen all over the place in music. And also, having been from New Orleans, maybe they took a unique interest, and it just felt like this really personal, we're of the internet, we love memes, we're from New Orleans, what better way to hearken to all of that than to take this mystery and make a song with that title?
Yeah, I mean, it like kind of like for the city to bolster interest and stuff, the city pride.
Sure. I mean, that is to say that maybe they didn't start hashtag PrayForDave, but they certainly jumped in on it, in a public way. So this Rex Todd character, they're still uploading and tweeting weekly. If the goal was to promote music or a book or something like that, similar to the Erratas phenomenon that we talked about, then the promotional goal would have already been met, right? So why continue posting?
Right.
After all, like I said, in Erratas, uploads ended abruptly when the band's connection was discovered. That said, the continued allure of PrayForDave might be ongoing promotion this group of musicians is looking for. I don't know. To me, I feel like we're splitting hairs trying to outthink a very confusing thing that doesn't have a lot of think to start with, if that makes sense.
I completely agree.
I think we're spinning wheels on confusion.
Yeah, it was so random, and it stayed in that random pocket.
Yeah. I'm just as interested because, God, anything like this that comes across my desk, I'm just like, whoa, that's really fascinating. But unlike most mysteries, I'm left starving at the end of it because I'm like, I didn't get a morsel. I just something else to get a little bit further into it, to keep me going.
Yeah, it's a completely locked down in mystery.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get it breaks free just a little bit, and of course it's a mystery, so it's it's not solved. Sometimes we cover things that are solved, but yeah, and it's just oh man, you get nothing.
Yeah, no progress, just more questions with no answers. So coming back to Safit Productions, they uploaded a video of Soundass's founder and member of We Are Not Musicians with the hashtag PrayForDave in the title. This was on January 10th, 2024. So this is still going, still fresh. And the description reads, quote, "I wish me and Dave could hang out there. Unfortunately, never invited. The credit goes to Flip Fitch, a musician and artist. Check him out. Hashtag PrayForDave, hashtag company feedback, hashtag forget, and then 2 Russian hashtags. And then in English, they are the words anime and meme. And then it ends with video protected by Erratas copyright systems," end quote.
It's too many hashtags. It's like
too many
back in the day,
hashtags.
People just, the hashtags first started popping off, and everyone was hashtagging everything everywhere.
Back in the day when they were of use, and I was very confused as to what they were. Now, at least on Instagram, hashtags are purposeless. They literally do nothing for you. Little pro tip.
Real? Yeah, I mean, I saw...
That's from the CEO. He's like, yeah, there's nothing.
Yeah, I mean, before people would click on them, and then it's everything that was hashtag with that you'd be able to see, I guess. But
it works as a search function, so you can surface things that way. But they don't promote you. They don't get you more engagement. They don't... I don't know. I just know that apparently they don't work.
Pointless.
Which is confusing. But I'm very interested. We have another Russian connection here because earlier we had the Russian name, and now we have the Russian hashtag, which translates to anime and meme, which maybe this is a meme. Maybe this whole thing has just been a joke.
That's what I was about to say. So I was like, uh-oh, one big joke. Uh-oh, someone just trying to give the lulz, and
I mean, yeah.
Seeing how easy it is for people to fall into this stuff because it's a mystery and people love mysteries.
It's very easy to just be confusing and put out cryptic stuff that have no answers if you're just pranking people, which is part of our next theory. But coming back to this kind of video, it references Erratas, which to me confirms either an ARG level thing or I want to be a mystery type of thing. But the account began uploading videos on October 23rd, 2023, and this was months after IMM's video on PrayForDave. So it's unclear if this is a legitimate connection or again, some other third party just kind of hopping in and muddying the waters. There's another interesting element here that continues to keep this attached to other internet mysteries. So one of the videos on Rex Todd's YouTube channel is titled Ubisoft Goes Steamworks Bye-Bye, always on DRM. Now this is a reference to another internet mystery I don't believe we've covered, known as Yay Video Games. I know, Christian, we've talked about it. It's been on our list before. But basically, this is where a Reddit user repeatedly commented this phrase across just copious amounts of conversations on Reddit. And so it just began to raise the question, why is this person commenting Yay Video Games? What is behind this?
Spam, but to what reason?
Right. It's a smaller, more shallow mystery, which is why we've kind of shelved it for now. But this doesn't really guarantee the involvement from Speederbeck or Soundass. It just shows a curation and awareness of things that it's compared to. To me, this kind of meta relation to other internet mysteries evokes the idea that this is just somebody who knows the internet mysteries and wants to make one of their own, and they're doing it by being very confusing.
Oh yeah, I agree. But I mean, it only works for so long, you know? At some point, you got to give people something.
Oh, 100%. And so with that said, to kind of close out this theory, it is possible that PrayForDave is just some sort of eclectic art project. Maybe it's not necessarily Speederbeck or Soundass or any of the people that we've talked about, but maybe by somebody else. Either way, it's an interesting theory. It does have relation to music and references, but the next theory comes from another amazing name, Reddit user Pooh Advocate. So they theorize that PrayForDave was simply a prank. I think you and I are on a similar page. I don't think this is a malicious prank by any means. I think this is somebody who kind of wants the attention of a mystery because there are people willing to get attention by saying, I'm the killer. It's unhinged out there.
It's very unhinged.
But Pooh Advocate says this, quote, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't all this start as a prank call channel or something along those lines? They would call random people and ask them to pray for Dave and then show the picture of Keanu and tell them that this is David, end quote. And to me, that is the thing that makes the most sense out of all this. So Pooh, you have an advocate in me. I think this theory is the only thing in the last hour that I've read that makes sense.
Yeah, I believe in Pooh.
I believe in Pooh. Let's get that in the reviews. I believe in Pooh. But yeah, that brings us to kind of the end of this mind-melting mystery. I'm glad we got to explore another internet mystery. We've kept this one on the back burner for a long while now, but I've been itching for an internet one, and I know this one's confusing, but it was nice to kind of be in a world where it's less sinister and it's a little bit more playful, and to see, to me, the compelling element here is just how the internet is ravenous for details and pulling things apart and trying to figure it out. It's like you said, it's a whole different frontier of mystery, and I'm just enamored by it.
Same. And I think it's kind of just begun. It's in its like early stages, and so we'll see how crazy it gets, especially, and I'll mention this because it's a little bit like it's going to be a little scary. AI, deepfakes, it's all going to get a little wild.
It's going to get wild fast.
Yeah.
We know what these videos look like. We talked about it in the Dead Internet Theory episode a few months ago, but it's amazing how fast it's changing. As a techie, I'm fascinated by the evolution of tech and the use cases of it. But as a human and creative and someone who loves art, I'm also, I don't want to say afraid. I think that's the wrong word, but I'm hesitant, reluctant maybe is the right word, to see what comes next. There's a lot of amazing possibilities, but there's also a lot of sinister things that could come.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you're right. I think the internet mysteries have only just begun. These are all man-made, curated things. But what happens when we start looking at a theory that's like, this is the singularity. Whatever this is, it's a bot that's self-aware, but it doesn't want us to know yet. I can't wait till a mystery like that comes along. Or maybe I can wait.
God.
No, I should. I do want to wait.
I feel like I can wait.
I can wait for that one. I can wait. Yeah. But it's going to happen. There's going to be
inevitable.
a mystery that comes along where we go, whatever's behind this is a sentient bot, and they haven't told us they're sentient yet.
Oh, God. Yikes.
Man, just as a total tangent, did you see, I saw this like breakdown of some of NVIDIA's like recent stuff, and they have like a metaverse essentially, like the Matrix essentially, where they can plug robots in and let them practice their physicality, but in a digital space.
What?
And so they can kind of like rapidly learn and prototype how they move through a physical environment in a digital one before then translating it to a physical body and moving around the real world. And that is like the precursor to so many AI-centric movies that I'm like morbidly fascinated. Of course, there's going to be a lot of people that know that way better. I've only just scratched the surface of that one. It's like I read the headline of the article and not the article, but that was kind of my initial takeaway. So we're in some really interesting times, to say the least.
At least, hopefully, it'll be super convenient for humans before robots take over.
Before it's bad?
Yeah, before it's really bad.
Yeah.
It'll be really convenient. AI will do a bunch of stuff for us automatically.
Yeah, well, let's pray for Dave and pray for us all as that future comes. But any final thoughts as we button up probably one of the most confusing mysteries we've ever covered?
Yeah, I mean, I think my final thought here is that like it just goes to show the range of mysteries that are like out there. And so some are so simplistic, others are like, I would go as far as, but this one overly complex. And so you have so much to feast on, mystery enthusiasts.
Oh yeah, a lot to bite into. Again, I will be, as soon as this episode comes out, I'm going to be heavy in the Discord channel, chatting with you guys in the task force, theorizing on this one. I'm desperate for some Nolans locals to get in there and help me try to break down what is Old Baker Moment, what is Monk Runs, or what are your best thoughts as to what that could be. But otherwise, if you want to join the Discord, it's exclusive for our Patreon members over at patreon.com/redweb. We also recently uploaded the very first tech check kind of pilot episode of Red Web that was unaired, but came from back in 2020. It's kind of like this uncanny valley version of Red Web.
Oh, Lord.
And I'll have you know, Task Force, the first movie reference after all these years, after 4+ years, hundreds of episodes, hundreds of hours of mysteries, it came in 65 seconds from Fredo. And I love it.
So it was always a part of the Red Web DNA.
Always.
Since the very beginning.
Since the very beginning, man. And I reference Armageddon. I think you mentioned The Abyss at one point. We've been movies top to bottom since before we even hit the airwaves. But if you want to check that out, you want to support this show directly, get ad-free, get the Movie Club podcast, so many other things, outlines. We put our research outlines out every now and then. Go to patreon.com/redweb. And thank you so much for becoming a Task Force member. Again, we're independent and it is the #1 way to support us. So thank you very much. But with that said, Fredo, I will see you next Monday for yet another mystery.
Goodbye and thank you, everyone.